establishment of integrated aqua parks, aquarium complexes, oceanaries, sports fishing, tourism boards, water sports for promoting the eco-tourism for employment and income generation of the state, as well as
Please be brief.
Our Honorable Chief Minister Y.S. Jagannath Reddy Garu, under his immaculate leadership, is striving hard for...
Please be brief in question.
Sir, of employment of the largest extent of the state. The government of India is supporting is the...
Venkatramana ji, please, this is not 0 hour. Please put your question.
Sir, this is, sir.
Question. What is your question?
Sir, whether the government has taken any measures of introducing aqua tourism in the state of Andhra Pradesh.
Thank you. Please.
उपसभापति जी, माननीय सदस्य को बाकायदा लिखित उत्तर में भी जो जवाब दिया गया उसमें स्पष्ट किया गया कि तटवर्ती परिपथ काकीनाडा और नेल्लूर ये दोनों के दोनों लगभग पूर्णता की तरफ हैं और ये पूरे भी हो गए। दूसरा जो बौद्ध परिपथ के तहत सालीहुंडम और बाकी कोंडा बौद्ध परिपथ है वो भी आंध्र प्रदेश में दिया गया है, वो भी पूरा हुआ है। प्रसाद योजना के तहत भी अमरावती शहर और श्रीशैलम 2 बड़ी परियोजना है जिनको पूरा किया गया है। मूलतः पर्यटन के प्रचार प्रसार का काम राज्य सरकार का है। मैं और भी अगर वो चाहें तो मैं उनको बता सकता हूं कि आंध्र प्रदेश की आवश्यकताओं को और उपयोगिता को देखते हुए पर्यटन का जो महत्व का प्रदेश है उसमें भारत सरकार ने पर्याप्त मात्रा में वहां पर सहयोग किया है और आगे भी सहयोग करने का विचार है।
Second supplementary, Mr. Rao.
Sir, aquaculture could also the income for the coastal communities and especially fishermen communities. Fish flock should be heavily engaged in the aqua tourism projects.
Are you reading something or putting your question?
So finish, sir.
Question. Please. He has no other question. Sri Vijay Sai Reddy ji.
Sir, I would like to know from the Honourable Minister, aqua tourism could be a good source of income for the coastal communities, especially fishing community. Fisher folk should be heavily engaged in aqua tourism projects. Has the Minister had any discussions with the Department of Fisheries and also the respective state governments where there is a coastal line to collaborate on promoting the aqua tourism? Thank you, sir.
माननीय उपाध्यक्ष जी, जो प्रसाद और स्वदेश दर्शन की योजना है वो तटवर्ती परिपथ के तहत ही वहां पर थे, लेकिन जो पर्यटन अवसंरचना की बात माननीय सदस्य ने की है मैं उनकी जानकारी में कहना चाहता हूं कि राज्य सरकारें ही प्रस्ताव भेजती हैं और उसके तहत पुट्टपर्ती में भी लाइट एंड साउंड शो हुआ है, वो प्रस्ताव वो भी पूरा होने की स्थिति में है और विशाखापट्टनम पत्तन के बाहरी बंदरगाह में भी जिसकी आप अपेक्षा कर रहे हैं उसके लिए भी लगभग 38 करोड़ रुपया भारत सरकार ने दिए हैं। मैं विचाराधीन एक परियोजना है सिहाचलम और अन्नावरम, मुझे लगता है कि जो बात मैंने पहले भी कही है कि राज्य सरकारों की सहमति से ही ये प्रस्ताव हमारे पास आते हैं और मैं मानता हूं कि बाकी राज्यों की तुलना में आंध्र में पर्याप्त मात्रा में प्रस्ताव दिए गए हैं। अन्य जो कार्यक्रम होते हैं जलाशय, उन 4 जलों में भी आंध्र प्रदेश में पैसा दिया गया है।
धन्यवाद। क्वेश्चन नंबर 22, माननीय श्री संजय राउत जी। माननीय श्री संजय राउत जी नॉट प्रेजेंट। फर्स्ट सप्लीमेंट्री प्रियंका चतुर्वेदी जी।
Honorable Chairman, sir. Sir, this is with regards to classical language status to Marathi. Many scholars, many historians, the state government of Maharashtra, many MPs across board coming from Maharashtra have made this request repeatedly. I had also put it on the table in the 253rd session. Every time the response is, it is under active consideration. My only question on this particular topic is, how long will this active consideration last?
Thank you.
Thank you.
डिप्टी चेयरमैन सर, जैसा कि माननीय सांसद ने आपके माध्यम से प्रश्न पूछा, मैं आपके माध्यम से बताना चाहता हूं कि ये ठीक है कि मैटर अंडर एक्टिव कंसिडरेशन है, लेकिन वर्तमान सरकार भारतीय भाषाओं और संस्कृति को सर्वोच्च प्राथमिकता देती है। आपने देखा होगा कि हमने अब तक जो है 6 भाषाओं को क्लासिकल लैंग्वेज का दर्जा दिया है। ये गृह मंत्रालय का एक नोटिफिकेशन था 2004 का, उसके तहत एक नोटिफिकेशन 25/11/5 को निकला, जिसमें गृह मंत्रालय ने संस्कृति मंत्रालय को ऑथराइज किया क्लासिकल लैंग्वेज के दर्जा देने के काम को। इसमें फिर हमने एक लिंग्विस्टिक्स एक्सपर्ट कमेटी बनाई। इस कमेटी के माध्यम से साहित्य अकादमी में मैटर गया। मैटर बहुत सकारात्मक दृष्टि से आगे बढ़ रहा है। जल्दी ही निर्णय शीघ्र होगा, सकारात्मक होगा, लेकिन इंटर मिनिस्ट्रियल डिस्कशन चल रहा है, कंसल्टेशन चल रहा है। जैसे ही निर्णय आएगा हम आपके माध्यम से माननीय सदन को, संसद को अवगत करा देंगे।
धन्यवाद। माननीय श्री विनय सहस्त्रबुद्धे जी।
उपसभापति जी, मुझे ये पूछना है कि महाराष्ट्र सरकार के अंदर के समन्वय के अभाव में क्या कुछ इस प्रस्ताव में खामियां रही है? ये जानकारी क्या सही है?
डिप्टी चेयरमैन सर, जो माननीय सांसद ने प्रश्न किया है, जैसे मैंने कहा कि लिंग्विस्टिक एक्सपर्ट कमेटी इस काम को जांच रही है। निश्चित रूप से क्या होता है कि जब राज्य सरकार प्रस्ताव भेजती है तो फिर ये मैटर साहित्य अकादमी में गया, तो कुछ कमियां छोटी मोटी रहती भी है, वो दूर कर ली गई है। जैसे कितनी पुरानी लैंग्वेज है मराठी भाषा, क्या क्या साहित्य, 3री शताब्दी में क्या लिखा गया, 12वीं शताब्दी तक क्या लिखा गया, 12वीं शताब्दी के बाद क्या लिखा गया। मैं माननीय सांसद को बताना चाहता हूं कि मराठा भाषा, मराठा साहित्य, उस पे देश मराठी भाषा और मराठा साहित्य पर देश गर्व करता है, देश गर्व करता है। इसलिए मैं आपके माध्यम से कहना चाहता हूं कि एक्टिव कंसिडरेशन का जो प्रकरण पहले जो सांसद ने उठाया, माननीय सांसद ने उठाया, सकारात्मक दृष्टिकोण से आगे बढ़ रहा है। बहुत ही जल्दी शीघ्र निर्णय होने वाला।
माननीय रजनी पटेल जी। पाटिल जी, रजनी पटेल नहीं, पाटिल जी। सर
क्या
बोल।
धन्यवाद। मैं सिर्फ ये पूछना चाहती हूँ मंत्री महोदय से कि एक तो मराठी भाषा जो है उसकी संस्कृति और उसकी इतिहास की परंपरा बहुत ही प्राचीन है। आद्य कवि मुकुंदराज, उन्होंने ये मराठी भाषा का उगम उनसे हुआ था और ज्ञानेश्वर महाराज ने उसको आगे बढ़ाया था। हमारे नामदेव, संत नामदेव, जिन्होंने ये मराठी भाषा पंजाब तक लेके गए।
रजनी जी, सवाल।
मैं ये बता रही हूँ, उन्होंने बताया कि हम अभ्यास कर रहे हैं।
आपको सवाल पूछना
नहीं, उन्होंने मंत्री महोदय ने बताया, उनको मैं बताना चाहती हूँ, उनको ज्ञान देना चाहती हूँ मराठी भाषा के लिए।
नहीं, आप ज्ञान देना चाहती हैं तो अलग है, सवाल पूछना चाहती है तो मैं मौका दे सकता हूँ। ज्ञान बाहर अलग से दे सकती हैं, आप सवाल पूछे।
तो मैं ये पूछना चाहती हूँ कि जब हमारे भाई विनय सहस्त्रबुद्धे बोल रहे हैं, जब वो हर जगह पर राजनीति करना चाहते हैं, महाराष्ट्र सरकार ने बहुत अच्छे प्रयास किए हैं कि मराठी भाषा सांस्कृतिक लेवल पे लिया जाए। क्या गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया अपने प्रयास से इसको जल्द ही किस प्रयास में सांस्कृतिक दर्जा देना चाहती है और उसके लिए क्या करना चाहती है?
धन्यवाद।
ये हम पूछना।
धन्यवाद।
चेयरमैन सर, जो मैंने पहले जिक्र किया कि मराठी भाषा और मराठा साहित्य, मराठा इतिहास, इस पर गर्व है हमें। हम जल्दी ही इस पे निर्णय करने वाले हैं। आप इस पे आप ये शंका मत करिए कि हम जो आप ज्ञान दे रहे हो उससे ज्यादा ज्ञान हम भी रखते हैं। हमने खूब पढ़ा है इसके बारे में, ऐसी बात नहीं है। लेकिन जब इंटर मिनिस्ट्रियल कंसल्टेशन होता है डिप्टी चेयरमैन सर, तो उसमें समय लगता है। MHRD का भी संस्कृति मंत्रालय, फिर गृह मंत्रालय, शिक्षा मंत्रालय, कई मंत्रालयों के बीच में इंटर मिनिस्ट्रियल कंसल्टेशन चल रहा है। लेकिन मैं फिर कह रहा हूं कि बहुत जल्दी सकारात्मक निर्णय से हम आपको अवगत कराएंगे। बहुत
धन्यवाद। क्वेश्चन नंबर 23, श्री रामचंद्र झांगरा जी। माननीय रामचंद्र झांगरा जी नहीं है, अनुपस्थित। फर्स्ट सप्लीमेंट्री, माननीय केसी वेणुगोपाल जी।
The government is nowadays taking action against some particular channels on citing this anti-national activities. We are also very much keen about the anti-national activities for some channels is happening. We are also very much concerned about it. But the complaint in the public domain is, sir, the government is misusing this penal code to suppress the freedom of expression in the country, freedom of the press in the country. Recently, one of the channel, Media One, has been given a direction to stop the telecast for the IP by citing the same security issue. Whether they have done anything wrong, we would like to know.
Thank you.
From the government, we would like to know what is the crime they have done.
Thank you. Thank you. Please, no, please.
Respected Deputy Chairman, sir, our government is concerned about the freedom of speech and freedom of expression. I want to convey, honourable member, we are not in 1975. We are not in emergency. We are in Brighton period under the BJP government.
Please.
Sir, I am coming to my answer. Sir, आप तो सुनो तो चाहिए.
Please.
वेणुगोपाल जी, आप तो मेरा answer तो सुनो. Answer to suno.
Take your seat, please.
You have to listen my answer.
Please take your seat.
See,
please. Please.
Sir.
Please.
Sir, Venugopal ji.
But please.
Sir, Venugopal ji's question is that Media One. Sir, that Media One, we are not doing anything. Sir, whatever the channels permission is we are giving, under the security clearance, the channel has to be get security clearance from the Home Ministry. If they get security clearance, we will give. And apart from this, the Media One is sub judice matter also. I want to convey this. And also, sir, within 2 months,
Venugopal ji, please take his answer.
Sir,
please,
within 2
listen,
months,
madam, listen, please.
Within 2 months, our government initiated actions against 60 channels. Those content, I'm not reading. Those, they content against
Nothing
the nation.
is going on record.
And content
mistake,
against the integrity of the nation. And content against the safety of the country. So we can't tolerate. We are taking, for example, 60 channels. It is in YouTube channels and Twitter and Facebook account also from the Pakistan channels. 60 channels we blocked for they disturbed the nation's security. The peace also. That is the thing. Thank you.
Lieutenant General D.P. Watts retired. D.P. Watts
from Lok Sabha chamber, sir.
Lok
Sabha chamber, sir.
आप अपना सवाल पूछे.
Through you, I will like to ask the Honorable Minister, sir, what about action against the people who come on media and use the filthy language? And the channels which give fake news? I would like to know action only initiated or it culminated into punishment also.
Thank you.
I want to convey through this Augustus to the member. See, again I am telling, we are concerned about the freedom of speech and freedom of expression. See, the Press Council of India is there. Sir, there is three-tier mechanism is there.
सीट पर बैठकर बात न करें, रिकॉर्ड पे नहीं जा रहा.
Three-tier mechanism is there. One is self-regulatory. Then self-regulatory bodies can take. If the grievances is not sorted out, then only inter-department committee is going to take the grievances and we sort out the grievances. In this, I want to tell this, 160 cases we initiated against the TV channels.
Time is over, Minister. Now time is over. Please. Individual. Now discussion on motion of thanks on the President's address. Honorable Sri Thambi Durai ji, आपकी बात ही रिकॉर्ड पे जाएगी.
Thank you, Deputy Chairman, sir, for giving the opportunity to speak on the subject. On behalf of ADMK party, I raise to thank the Honourable President's address to the Parliament, which listed the achievements of Prime Minister Sri Narendra Modi ji and the government led by him, including achievements in the healthcare, infrastructure, defence, farming, startups and others. At the outset, I congratulate the Modi ji government for its successful fight against the COVID-19 pandemic and thank the central government for extending meaningful support to the efforts of all the governments in India. Sir, I want to once again thank our Honourable Prime Minister. When ADMK government was in power, when the first phase of epidemic took place, at the time, government extended a lot of extension to our former Chief Minister Edappadi Palaniswamy, who did marvelous work to tackle the pandemic situation at the time. Sir, at the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic, we were all thought, don't know what is going to happen. Most of the even developed countries worried how to tackle this issue. But at the time, when the world
silence please.
Worried about that, our Honourable Prime Minister, Sri Narendra Modi ji, who took quick decisions and firm implementation of the measures in containing the spread of the virus. As Honourable President mentioned in his address, the proof of India's capability to fight against COVID-19 has been witnessed in the vaccination drive. The rupees 64,000 crore Prime Minister Ayushman Bharat Health Infrastructure Mission is preparing the countries for future healthcare crisis. I should like to make a special mention of the wonderful action taken by the ADMK government in Tamil Nadu under the leadership of Thiru Edappadi Palaniswamy and Thiru O. Pannirselvam to protect the lives and livelihoods of the almost 8 crores of the population of Tamil Nadu at that time, sir. Sir, ADMK government, during its period, pandemic situation, provided each cash assistance of rupees 5,500 rupees, provisions and food grains to more than 1.2 crore families for within 8 months, and separate payment of rupees 2,000 to Labour Welfare Board members, weavers, and to several lakh migrant workers. For several months, nutrition food, cooked and prepared, was given free of cost through the hundreds of people through Amma canteens in the major towns in the cities of Tamil Nadu. Medical help was readily made available to millions of COVID-affected people in Tamil Nadu. Excellent treatment was provided to all in the need. Indeed, an exemplary work was in force during the time of ADMK government, headed by Edappadi Palaniswamy, and take the opportunity to thank the central government for the support it provided for us at the time. Sir, we have administered 150 crore vaccines in less than a year. More than 90% of adults have received at least one dose of vaccine, while more than 70% have been fully vaccinated, and the third dose of the vaccine is being administered effectively. I most congratulate our Honourable Prime Minister Modi ji government for this monumental work executed effectively. Sir, India has emerged as a role model for the world in providing health care and affordable medicines to the people through Pradhan Mantri Bharatiya Jan Ayushni Yojana, and as it has set up 8,000 kendras to provide the poor with affordable medicine. It is very important to note that our country has exported Ayush products worth 11,000 crores to foreign countries. Sir, and also, you know very well, even though we faced not a problem, epidemic problem, during the Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi period, in 8 months between April and November 2021, foreign direct investment of 48 billion was made in India. Our foreign exchange reserve exceeded 630 billion US dollars. Because of the Jan Dhan accounts, Aadhaar and mobile connectivity, people have benefited from direct cash transfer during the pandemic. More than 44 crore people have joined the bank system. These are all not small achievements. Sir, in the area of agriculture and food distribution, our country has set new records under the Pradhan Mantri Kisan Samman Nidhi scheme. Rupees 1.8 lakh crores have been transferred to more than 11 crore farmers' families. More than 1 lakh crore rupees have been paid as compensation to around 8 crore farmers. 6 lakh hectares of land has been developed with irrigation facilities under the various schemes of the central government, and I register my appreciation for these historic achievements, and as I am also the son of the rural small farmer from remote village of Tamil Nadu. The collateral-free loans given to the 13.5 lakh medium, small and micro industries have helped to keep the economy and core sectors production more. The huge emphasis of this government on the development of infrastructure and transport will accelerate overall growth of the country and generate new job opportunity for several lakh workers. So I must especially appreciate this government for rupees 65,000 crores financial through our banks given to 25 lakh women's self-help groups. Sir, in the line with the politics mentioned by our policies, in the line of the policy mentioned by our Honorable President, our Finance Minister, Tirumati Nirmala Sitharaman, has announced Godavari Krishna Pennar and Pennar Kaveri river linking has been finalized. Sir, this proposal of interlinking of rivers to transfer surplus waters from Godavari Krishna Kaveri is a right decision. Our ADMK government has worked hard for it. I thank the central government for accepting our proposal, and I hope the project will be successfully completed in the next few years. Sir, at this juncture, I draw the attention of the government of India, the plight of the Indian fishermen from Tamil Nadu, from my state, who are continuously harassed, attacked, looted, and brutalized by the Sri Lankan Navy in the Bay of Bengal and the Gulf of Mannar. I plead that our government take a firm policy decision to safeguard the interest of our fishermen and protect the livelihood of lakhs of poor fishermen folks. Sir, you know very well, recently the Sri Lanka government seized the boats of the Tamil Nadu fishermen. They are going to announce they are going to auction it. This is an unfair thing, sir, because our poor fishermen, they have gone, and without such knowledge, something would have happened. But I request the central government to take necessary steps to get back the fishing boats of our Tamil fishermen. Sir, and also, sir, this is the only way to settle this issue, you know very well. And the way of stopping the menace could be retrieving the Kachetivu. This is the very thing, sir. You know very well in West Bengal also, when a certain island was given to Bangladesh. At that time, it was passed by the parliament. But Kachetivu is not done like that. It is arbitrarily given at that time when Madam Indira Gandhi was the Prime Minister to the Sri Lanka, but not ratified by the Parliament. Therefore, still Kachetivu is the part of Indian territory. Therefore, it is high time to see that we have to fight and get this Kachetivu to solve the fisherman issue. Otherwise, Sri Lanka is now, you know, they are moving towards China. That is the relations going on. It is a threatening for to our Indian security. Therefore, whatever the Chinese government is doing, not only in Arunachal, other places, even Sri Lanka also, they are trying to enter to give threat to our Indian thing. Therefore, it is high time to see that we have to take that action also, sir. Sir, and also, regarding the mentioned governance thing, sir, President address,
This is 150th birth anniversary of Vavu Chidambaram Pillai is going to, and also 125th birth anniversary of Netaji Subhash Chandra Gopi. They are going to celebrate it properly. I am very thankful for the central government to come forward to the freedom fighter who navigated the ships for a British period. You lost all the life and wealth of Chidambaram Pillai. To honor that, the government has come forward. Appreciate for that, sir. Regarding the NEET examination, sir, this is known very well. We are all raising, especially Tamil Nadu, all the parties, to get the exemption to the NEET examination, because the NEET examination affects our medical students, aspiring medical students, rural people, especially rural students, they are studying there. Sir, as long as education is there in concurrent list, this problem will occur. When that has come, you know very well. 1975, 70, 76, 77 period, emergency period, at that time former Prime Minister Indira Gandhi brought this education from state subject to central concurrent list, brought that at that time. After the government, Morarji Desai government came, Morarji government changed many things, withdrawn the many bills, but the education, that government also allowed to continue concurrent list. Because of that subject is concurrent list, we are tight, central government taking many laws. At the same time, state governments are going down. Therefore, this high time, I request the government to rethink it, because they announced in the President address, they are going to start nearly 200 channels of giving education for the people, and also they are going to conduct programs like professional courses, like engineering courses in regional languages. When that is the case, when we are going to promote our other languages, which is in the 8th schedule, most of the languages of that 8th schedule, including Tamil, your Bengal, all must be made, Bengal language, all must be made as a national language and an official language of this country. That is our demand. We are going raising that. That has to be done. Then only we get the equal opportunity. And also when you are conducting the all India examination, when you are writing, the state must give them the more power to see that professional admissions, courses admission, such as medical courses, is given more to the state government. That is why our party, ADMK party, go on requesting many times, meeting the central minister, honorable prime minister, and asking that to help the rural people, especially students. It has to be, otherwise, what is going to happen now? There are more coaching classes started, professional course started. Lakhs of money that people are paying and to get that kind of education to enter the NEET examination. But poor people cannot do that. That is why we are asking the exemption for that. Therefore, I think the central government consider all these things, sir. And also, our honorable Prime Minister has mentioned, as in the President address, mentioned honorable Prime Minister's vision for that the government is moving fast on building a strong foundation for the next 25 years following the mantra of Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Vishwas, our Sabka Prayas. Sir, creating India which includes all benefits, all which has to be self-sufficient, sir. These are, I am very happy to note that this, our Prime Minister, Narendra Modi ji, has come forward this kind of vision which is going to help our country. Therefore, I am very thankful for giving the opportunity, and also once again I thank the Modi ji government and Modi ji and others, and who have taken long kind of steps to see that India is going to develop for that. I thank once again for the President's address. Thank you.
Thank you. Sri A.D. Singh ji.
Thank you very much, Deputy Chairman, sir, for giving me the opportunity to speak. I rise to thank the respected Rashtrapati ji for his very comprehensive listing of the achievements of the present government and the way forward. Indeed, the catalogue and success and achievement are impressive, and I congratulate the Prime Minister and his team for these successes and also the work in progress. This success will be even better if it was accompanied by social cohesion and unity. Unfortunately, the nation's progress is slowed down by divisions that we see emerging in society. This needs immediate course correction. This reminds me of an anecdote from Gandhiji's visit to St. Stephen's College, as reported in the college magazine of 1915. According to this story, a sadhu came to another iconic leader of our freedom struggle, Sri Gopal Krishna Gokhale, to make suggestions that would suppress a minority community. Gokhale rejected this specious religious reasoning by saying that if to be a Hindu he has to do what has been suggested, then he be better known as a non-Hindu. Rashtrapati ji said that the government is committed to counter the forces challenging the sovereignty and unity of the country at every level, and strict action will be taken against the forces inciting violence. I urge the government to inform the House actions that have been taken so far against those who publicly called for genocide and targeting specific communities. The House will support strictest of action against all such individuals, irrespective of their political affiliations. A strong government cannot be seen as cowing down to a handful of fringe elements who are sowing discord in our society on a daily basis. We pay tribute to the 20 brave hearts who made the ultimate sacrifice to defend every inch of our land in June 2020. But the threats have not diminished. More conflicts have arisen, and despite regular talks, there are no signs of illegal occupation of our land ending anytime soon. The famous salami slicing policy is in action, and our response has been muted. I need not remind the government that such silence only encourages the aggressor, who sees this as a sign of weakness. In addition, our half-hearted economic countermeasures have been ineffective. Our trade deficit with our main challenger has reached a very new high last year. Protection and unity and sovereignty of the nation is not the work of one individual. It is also not about seeking personal glory. It is national unity. I would like to pay tribute to late General Rawat, our first CDS, but I am disappointed that such a sensitive post has been lying vacant since the tragic accident. I would urge the government to find his successor quickly. It appears that the government has no succession plan or proper personal planning if one sees the number of high-level posts lying vacant in the executive and the judiciary. In the speech dealing with foreign policy, I noticed a significant omission. Momentous changes have taken place in our neighborhood when a government in Afghanistan was toppled and its friendly people have been brought under an extremist regime that denies all human and basic rights, has dragged the country into unprecedented humanitarian crisis. Historically, and including under this government, India has always stood with the people of Afghanistan and helping them in all possible manner rather generously. Our humanitarian assistance is still reaching Kabul. Given our traditionally close relations and brotherhood that Afghans feel for India, we would urge the government of India to stand firmly with the people of Afghanistan and facilitate travel and trade and continuing education of Afghans in India. The policy so far has so far been left much to be desired. In fact, even today's scores of Afghan students are stranded in Kabul without a visa, denying them the possibility of coming back to the colleges. Their future is being put on hold. Our policy will need to focus on the people, and we should be using our influence to ensure the regime in Kabul works towards forming an inclusive national government. Otherwise, it is feared that Afghanistan will become a playground for radical and anti-India groups.
Please conclude.
India will have to learn to stand with its friends. If not, we will be repeating the historical mistake of once letting down our friendly people of Tibet. It is well documented that the Tibetans never accepted the sovereignty and suzerainty of the Chinese. Even Nehru, who is much loved by the current government, advised them to approach the UN and sent a young military officer, Zorawar Bakshi, to undertake strategic military reconnaissance in Tibet in 1949. Things did not turn out as planned, and rest is history.
Please conclude.
However, the nation faces long-term consequences, both action and inaction. In this increasingly multipolar world, India will have to align itself with its own national interests in its own neighborhood and beyond. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Sri Birendra Prasad Vaishya ji.
Thank you, Chairman, sir, for allowing me
to discuss on the subject. I raise here to thank His Excellency, President of India, for his presidential address. Sir, in his presentation, President very rightly mentioned during this period our development in the health sector, our development in the infrastructure, agriculture sector, sports arena, everything Honorable President has described in his address. Sir, I must compliment Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji and his government because within a year our government successfully given 70% adult population of the fully vaccinated. Sir, India is a big country and within this first span of time, sir, 150 crore Indian citizens is vaccinated, sir. When vaccination started, sir, every part of the world, they have discussed how it's possible India to implement this project because India have a huge population. But this government, under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, it is clearly justified that India is doing everything, India can do anything, and it is a great success for Indian government. More than 70 senior citizens of the country, adult citizens of country, is vaccinated. Sir, in health sector, sir, within this year, our country has developed in marvelously well, sir. Sir, we remember in the first wave of COVID, sir, India is crying for sanitizer. There's shortage of masks. There's shortage of medicine. But, sir, within this year, India developed anything. We produce sufficient masks, sir. Now we can export. We have produced our vaccine, and now we can export, and we produce the medicine also. This is the successful of this government. I must compliment health sector. I must salute all the health workers for their great successful, sir. Sir, another great achievement of this government is, sir, agriculture sector, sir. Government has given almost priority in the agriculture sector, sir. And during this year, COVID period, what a worst condition faced by our people, urban area, rural area, farmers, everybody faced the problem. Although there is a COVID, sir, 30% agriculture produce has increased during the period, sir. Sir, not only that, sir, 33%, sir, horticulture production also increased, sir. But I must compliment this government, sir. The government procured more than 430 lakhs metric tons of the wheat during the Rabi season, benefit about the 50 lakhs farmers, sir. And record quantity of about 90 lakhs metric tons of paddy was procured during Kharif season, sir, benefited 1 crore 30 lakhs people. This is the achievement. This is the achievement of the government. Not only increase the production, farmers are get benefited, farmers are get their price. Instead of going other place, government has given enough money and government procured this product. I must compliment Narendra Modi ji for this successful India. Sir, not only that, sir. Country should remember one thing. During the COVID period, Indian agriculture products is increased like anything else. This is one of the greatest achievements, sir. Secondly, sir, one more thing, sir. I am coming from Assam, sir. During this period, Assam also export agriculture product to the neighboring foreign countries, sir. This is the achievement of our government, sir. Sir, one more thing I like to infrastructure development. We always speaking of the infrastructure. Through the Bharat Parijojana, sir, infrastructure development is achieved in every part of the country, sir. Sir, if I'm not speaking about the Tokyo Olympic, it will be incomplete, sir. I'm happy to say that, sir, I lead the Indian contingent in Tokyo Olympic Games. I was the chief of mission for Indian contingent, sir. And India, for the first time, India's making history, India getting all type record medals in Tokyo Olympic Games, sir. Sir, in the athletics, earlier our Bindra got the medal in the shooting. In athletics, for the first time, Indian athletes got the gold medal, sir, in the athletics. I must congratulate him, sir. Sir, northeastern region is the very intricate part of our country, sir. Sir, it is long way from Delhi, sir. From Delhi to Guwahati, it is more than 2,000 kilometers, sir. Other northern, it is more than 2,700 kilometers, sir. But, sir, this Narendra Modi government has given well transportation system, well railway system to the northeastern region, sir. And today, I am proudly said, sir, all the capital of northeastern region today, railway connectivity is there. Every part of the northeastern region have a railway to there. There is a better air connectivity is there, and recently shipping minister has announced there will be water route connectivity will be started very soon, sir. Sir, Assam is famous for tea pollution, sir. India is getting huge currency, foreign currency from the tea, sir. And small tea grower of Assam played very important role for the tea production of Assam, sir. So small tree growers, they are not only produce the tea, sir. They are successfully resolve certain extent of unemployment problem in Assam, sir. So to encourage tea industry, to encourage small tree grower is the call of our. Although government has took some initiative to develop the tea industry of Assam, I specially request through this presidential address, through you, sir, I request Honorable Minister to government, sir, look after this issue and they should give a priority, topmost priority to the small tree growers is our country in the interest of the Indian economy, in the interest of the northeastern region's economy, in the interest of the Assam economy, and especially in the interest of the curb the unemployment in our country, sir. Sir, one more thing I like to say, sir. Assam is a oil producing state, sir. Assam have a huge quantity of oil and national gas, sir. And I like to request government, through you, sir, please establish some better there is a lot, this government has taken lots of initiative. This government has given more than 3,000 crore rupees for the expansion of the Numaligarh refinery. This government is taking initiative to biofuel gas production Numaligarh refinery, to export oil products from Numaligarh refinery to the other parts of the world, sir. But I like to request you, sir, some more social activity for the petroleum ministry should be started in Assam, sir, because we are an oil producing state, and this oil sector have a huge amount of money, and they have a special responsibility, special community responsibility fund is there, sir. I like to request through government, through you, sir, I like to request government to take some initiative, given some more money in the social responsibility scheme to the northeastern region, to build some more hospital, infrastructure project, etc., especially, sir. According to report of the World Health Organization, maximum number of cancer patients of our country is from the Assam and northeastern region, sir. I like to request you through you, to the government, to the ministry, please establish some special modern super specialty hospital, especially in Upper Assam, from the oil responsibility fund. I think if this will be done, definitely it will not only benefit from Assam, it will benefit Assam and northeastern region. With this torture, I totally support the motion moved by the Honorable Minister to thank the President. I totally support the move. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Sri Mukhtar Abbas Naqvi ji.
उपसभापति महोदय, महामहिम राष्ट्रपति जी के अभिभाषण के धन्यवाद प्रस्ताव पर आपने बोलने का मुझे मौका दिया। उपसभापति महोदय, देश ने इन 7 दशकों के अपने सफल सफर में बहुत से ऐसे लम्हे भी देखे हैं, बहुत से ऐसे मौके भी देखे हैं जो कि इस देश के गौरवशाली इतिहास का साक्षी रहा है। मैं इन 7 दशकों के इस इतिहास भूगोल में नहीं जाता। मैं इन 18 वर्षों के अंदर क्या बदलाव हुआ, क्या परिवर्तन आया, मैं आपके माध्यम से वो ध्यान आकर्षित करने की कोशिश कर रहा हूं। आज उपसभापति महोदय, कहा जाता है कि आज हिंदुस्तान 2 हो गया है। आज इस देश में 2 भारत चल रहा है। हमारी समझ में हमारा हिंदुस्तान, हमारा भारत एक भारत है, श्रेष्ठ भारत है। 2 भारत तो मैंने कभी न सुना है न देखा है। लेकिन हिंदुस्तान को समझने के लिए, हिंदुस्तान की संस्कृति को समझने के लिए, संस्कार को समझने के लिए, संकल्प को समझने के लिए और समावेशी सोच को समझने के लिए हमें इंडिया इज इंदिरा और इंदिरा इज इंडिया, कांग्रेस इज कंट्री और कंट्री इज कांग्रेस के सुरूर और सोच से बाहर निकलना होगा। जब तक हम इंडिया इज इंदिरा और इंडिया इज इंदिरा और इंदिरा इज इंडिया, जब तक हम कांग्रेस इज कंट्री और कंट्री इज कांग्रेस के सुरूर के हैंगओवर में रहेंगे, तब तक हम अपने हिंदुस्तान के उस गौरवशाली संस्कार को, उस सनातनी संस्कृति को, उस संकल्प को मुझे लगता है कि समझ नहीं पाएंगे। आज हमें इस बात का गर्व है, हम सबको गर्व है, कोई भी किसी पॉलिटिकल पार्टी का है, किसी राजनीतिक विचारधारा का है, लेकिन अपने हिंदुस्तान की इस मट्टी पर हम सब गर्वान्वित हैं। गर्व करते हैं कि हमारा ये जो एक संकटों का, कंटकों का सफर रहा है, वो सफल भी रहा है और आज दुनिया में हिंदुस्तान ने अपनी एक धाक भी जमाई है। मैं इन 18 सालों में जो बदलाव हुआ, मैं एक एक करके, मैं 18 सालों में कम से कम 28 ऐसे बदलाव हैं जो मुझे ध्यान में आ रहे हैं, और तो बहुत हैं जो और भी साथियों को ध्यान में होगा। जो 2014 के बाद जो सबसे बड़ा बदलाव इस देश ने महसूस किया, वो इस देश ने महसूस किया, इस लोकतंत्र में, इस दुनिया के सबसे बड़े जनतंत्र में प्रधानमंत्री पद के इंस्टीट्यूशन की गरिमा, क्रेडिबिलिटी और सम्मान बहाल होना। एक आप शेर को बहुत अच्छी तरह समझते हैं, लिहाज आंख का रिश्तों का डर नहीं होता। उपसभापति महोदय सुनेंगे, लिहाज आंख का रिश्तों का डर नहीं होता जब एक शख्स के हाथों में घर नहीं होता। तो आज से 8 साल पहले क्या स्थिति थी? प्रधानमंत्री कार्यालय कहीं और से चलता था, प्रधानमंत्री जी को निर्देश कहीं और से मिलता था, और वही नहीं, कैबिनेट जो डिसीजन करती थी नॉनसेंस और न्यूसेंस कह के उसे फाड़ दिया जाता था। आज जो बदलाव हुआ इस देश में, कोई मजबूर प्रधानमंत्री नहीं है, बल्कि मजबूत प्रधानमंत्री है, और ऐसे प्रधानमंत्री हैं जिनके हाथों में देश की सुरक्षा, देश का सम्मान, देश की समृद्धि पूरी तरह से महफूज भी है और मजबूत भी है। ये बदलाव मैंने आपको पहला बताया। मैं दूसरा बदलाव बताना चाहता हूं सर। मैं दूसरा दो बदलाव आया है सर, कि हम जो है वो 8 साल पहले के जो किस्से कहानियां सुनते थे, इस हाउस में हम सब ने उस माहौल को भी देखा है, उन हालात को भी महसूस किया है कि हर दिन किस तरह की चर्चाएं होती थी, करप्शन से लेकर के ये जी, वो जी, फला जी, दिमाका जी, ये सब कुछ सुनाई पड़ता था। आज हम जब सकारात्मक दृष्टि से बात कर रहे हैं तो हम कह रहे हैं कि जी हिंदुस्तान में दो हिंदुस्तान हो गया है। एक हिंदुस्तान जो है वो सनातनी सोच का है और एक हिंदुस्तान सामंती सोच का है। तो ये सोच और नजर और नजरिए में फर्क है। सर, तीसरा जो बहुत महत्वपूर्ण परिवर्तन हमने इस महसूस किया, आदरणीय नेता विरोधी दल भी आ गए हैं, उनका भाषण मैंने पूरा सुना था। कट कमीशन करप्शन की विरासत और तुष्टीकरण की सियासत को पर रोक लगी है। कट कमीशन करप्शन की विरासत और तुष्टीकरण की सियासत पर रोक लगी है और राजनीतिक तुष्टीकरण के छल को राष्ट्रीय सशक्तिकरण के बल से ध्वस्त किया गया है। यह हुआ पांचवा परिवर्तन। सर, यह छठा परिवर्तन जो है, जो महत्वपूर्ण है, हम सब दिल्ली में बहुत वर्षों से रह रहे हैं, सुनते रहते थे कि साहब ये दिल्ली में ये नेशनल हाई लाइजनिंग ऑफिस है, ये इंटरनेशनल लाइजनिंग ऑफिस है। जहां से किसी भी सरकार का कोई काम आपको कराना हो तो उस इंटरनेशनल लाइजनिंग ऑफिस के से आप करा सकते हैं। आज जो है वो दिल्ली के सत्ता के गलियारे से सत्ता के दलालों की नाकेबंदी और लूट लाबी में तालेबंदी की गई है। ये फर्क है मोदी जी के आने के बाद का। सर, जो सातवां फर्क है वो बहुत महत्वपूर्ण फर्क है। आज इस देश की राजनीति और इस देश के सियासी संस्कृति में बहुत बड़ा परिवर्तन आया है। आज परिवार के सियासी परिक्रमा नहीं बल्कि परिश्रम और पराक्रम की संस्कृति ने जन्म लिया है। आज परिवारों की पॉलिटिकल परिक्रमा के आधार पर देश की सरकारें और देश की सियासत तय नहीं हो रही है, बल्कि परिश्रम और परफॉर्मेंस, परिश्रम और परिणाम के आधार पर इस देश की संस्कृति, सियासी संस्कृति और संस्कार को नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने बदल दिया है। यह फर्क आया है, नवा फर्क। सर, 10वां फर्क क्या है? जो लाल बत्ती कल्चर हुआ करता था, उसका रोब, उसकी धमक, उसका खौफ, वो आम आदमी को चढ़ाने लगा था। आम आदमी को लगता था कि ये तो लाल बत्ती इतनी इतनी करता हुआ आया, ये तो हमारे ऊपर सारा रोब जमा रहा है, हमसे कोई सुपरमैन है ये। उस लाल बत्ती कल्चर को नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने खत्म किया और इस रोब की जो राजनीति थी, जो ध्वंस की राजनीति थी, उस पर विराम लगाया। ये फर्क है, ये 10वां फर्क है। उसके अलावा सर, कभी कहा जाता था कि इस देश के संसाधनों पर किसी एक संप्रदाय विशेष का अधिकार है। मैं इसलिए कहता हूं, वो जानते थे कि अधिकार देने वाले नहीं हैं, लेकिन कहते जरूर थे। इसीलिए कहा हमने कि जो राजनीतिक तुष्टीकरण का छल था, उसको हमने समावेशी और सर्वस्पर्शी सशक्तिकरण के बल से ध्वस्त किया है। कि एक देश के संसाधनों पर एक संप्रदाय का अधिकार है। मोदी जी ने क्या परिवर्तन किया? सबका साथ, सबका विकास, सबका विश्वास और सबका प्रयास। यानी देश के संसाधनों पर सबसे पहला अधिकार आखिरी पायदान पे खड़े हुए व्यक्ति का है। उसकी आंखों में खुशी, उसकी जिंदगी में खुशहाली आनी चाहिए। ये परिवर्तन 11वां है सर। सर, एक और परिवर्तन है, जो कोटा, परमिट, कंट्रोल, पता नहीं क्या क्या राज चलते थे। इस पूरे के पूरे देश की जो गरीबों तक जो पैसा पहुंचना चाहिए, गरीबों के विकास के लिए जो पैसा पहुंचना चाहिए, गांव, गरीब, किसान, झुग्गी झोपड़ी के इंसान की तरक्की के लिए जो पैसा पहुंचना चाहिए, कभी आदरणीय स्वर्गीय राजीव गांधी जी ने कहा था कि दिल्ली से पैसा चलते चलते घिस करके और कितना हो जाता है। आज वो घिसने की रफ्तार खत्म हो गई है। डीबीटी के जरिए डायरेक्ट बेनिफिट हो रहा है, चाहे वो किसानों को हो, मजदूरों को हो, महिलाओं को हो, बुजुर्गों को हो या समाज के किसी भी वर्ग को। ये एक फर्क आया है कि रुपए घिसने की जो गड़बड़ झाला था उसमें रोक लगी है। सर, एक बहुत बड़ा परिवर्तन आपने देखा होगा कि हमारे देश में 12वां मैं बता रहा हूं कि जिसमें कि हमारे देश में कानून हम लोग बनाते रहते थे, बहुत झगड़े भी करते थे कि साहब इस बिल पे डिस्कशन नहीं होना चाहिए, इस बिल पे 2 घंटा होगा, 10 घंटा होगा, 5 घंटा होगा, बिल बन गया। अब बिल का ढेर लग जाता था, कानून बन जाते थे। एक ही चीज पर 10 क्रिमिनल कानून बन गए और उसके बाद उनमें से जो है वो हमने, जब मुझे पार्लियामेंट्री अफेयर मिनिस्ट्री का काम मैं देख रहा था सर, तो मैंने निकलवाया कि ये बिल इतनी पार्लियामेंट ने पास किया, इतना समय लिया, हमारे ऑनरेबल मेंबर्स ने उसमें अपने अपने सुझाव दिए हैं, स्टैंडिंग कमेटी ने या सिलेक्ट कमेटी ने उस पर अपनी बात कही होगी, लेकिन हुआ क्या उसका? तो पता लगता है कि साहब बिल तो जो है वो 12 साल पहले, 13 साल पहले बन गया था, रूल ही फ्रेम नहीं हुआ है, पड़ा हुआ है अभी। यानी कि पार्लियामेंट में डिस्कस हो गया, पार्लियामेंट के दोनों हाउसेज ने उसे पास कर दिया, लेकिन वो प्रभावी नहीं हो पाया। ऐसे 1500 से ज्यादा बिल जो बिल की प्रभावी नहीं थे, लेकिन बिल की शक्ल में किताबों का हिस्सा बने हुए थे, उनको रिपील किया। मोदी जी ने आकर के कानून जहां जरूरत थी बनाया भी, और जो जिस कानून की जरूरत नहीं थी उसका खत्म भी किया। ये बदलाव आया, 14वां बदलाव सर। सर, एक और बदलाव, जो बहुत बड़ा बदलाव मैं मानता हूं कि जो कि हर देशवासी को गर्वान्वित करने वाला है, ये जो दंगों का हफ्ता और आतंकवादी धमाकों का महीना होता था, उस पर रोक लगी है। उपसभापति महोदय, मैं इसलिए कह रहा हूं दंगों का हफ्ता और आतंकवादी धमाकों का महीना कि देश का कोई हिस्सा, भागलपुर से भिवंडी तक देख लीजिए, गुवाहाटी से लेकर के और आप वाराणसी चले जाइए, देश के किसी न किसी हिस्से में जो है वो दंगा फसाद, बेगुनाह लोगों का कत्लेआम होता रहता था और देश जो है इन दंगों की आग से बेचैन रहता था। और उसके साथ साथ आतंकवाद महीने में कोई ऐसा हिस्सा नहीं था, कभी जो है वो दिल्ली के लाजपत नगर में आतंकवादी धमाका करते थे, तो कभी मुंबई में धमाका होता था, तो कभी गुवाहाटी में धमाका हो जाता था, हैदराबाद में धमाका होता, कोई ऐसा हिस्सा नहीं था जहां महीने 2 महीने में आतंकवादी बेखौफ होकर के आतंकवादी अपनी हरकतें न करते हों। नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने आने के बाद जो एक बड़ा बदलाव आया, जो उन्होंने संकल्प लिया कि सुरक्षा पर जो आ जाए तो टकराना जरूरी है, सुरक्षा पर जो आ जाए तो टकराना जरूरी है, जो जिंदा हो तो जिंदा भी नजर आना जरूरी है। और यह दिखा दिया पूरी दुनिया को कि हिंदुस्तान अपने देश के लोगों की, अपने देश की सीमाओं की सुरक्षा के संकल्प से लबरेज है, भरा हुआ है। और इसीलिए हमारे पड़ोस के ने एक हिमाकत करने की कोशिश की थी इस बीच में। हमारे सुरक्षा बलों ने घुस करके सर्जिकल स्ट्राइक की, घुस करके चूहे की बिल से निकाल करके आतंकवादियों को तबाह किया। अफसोस कि उस समय भी हुआ था, जिस देश ने उसे प्रायोजित किया था वो हमसे सबूत मांग रहा था। हमारे कुछ यहां के साथी जो है सवाल पूछ रहे थे, उस समय भी सबूत और सवाल की जुगलबंदी शुरू हो गई थी राष्ट्रीय सुरक्षा जैसे मुद्दे पर। यह बदलाव हुआ सर। 18वां बदलाव सर, हमारे देश में जो है वो हमारे देश के तमाम महापुरुष, महानायक, जिन्होंने कि हमारे देश के हिंदुस्तान के निर्माण में, हिंदुस्तान की आजादी के लिए आज हम अगर सुकून के साथ इस खुली हवा में सांस ले रहे हैं, तो उन तमाम महापुरुषों का ये देश ऋणी है जिन्होंने की कुर्बानियां दी, परिवार के परिवार उनके जो है वो तो उन्होंने कुर्बान कर दिए अपने। हम लोग जब गाना गाते हैं कि जरा आंख में भर लो पानी, जरा याद करो कुर्बानी, लेकिन दिक्कत आई कि हमारी इस देश की कुर्बानी को भी परिवार के पालने में समेट के रख दिया गया। देश के जो महानायकों ने कुर्बानी दी थी वो सीमित कर दी गई। मोदी जी ने आने के बाद जो फर्क हुआ कि हमारे जो लाखों महानायक थे, नायक थे, जो इतिहास के पन्नों में कहीं पे इग्नोर कर दिए गए थे, उनको सम्मान दिया और आने वाली पीढ़ी को बताया कि जो पहले थे वो हैं, लेकिन ये भी हैं जिन्होंने कि देश के लिए खून बहाया है, देश के लिए कुर्बानी दी है। आज तुम इस देश में गर्वान्वित होकर के अपने आप को हिंदुस्तानी कह रहे हो तो इनके ऋणी हो। नेताजी सुभाष चंद्र बोस, इंडिया गेट पर आप देख लीजिए। सरदार वल्लभ भाई पटेल, दुनिया की सबसे बड़ी आदमकद प्रतिमा गुजरात में है। महू, जो बाबा साहब भीमराव अंबेडकर का राष्ट्रीय स्मारक, एक लंबी श्रृंखला है। तो हमने जो है इस देश के नायकों और महानायकों को परिवार के घेरे से बाहर निकाल करके और हिंदुस्तान के घेरे में रखा, बताया और आने वाली पीढ़ी को बताया कि वो तो थे ही, ये भी हैं जिन्होंने देश के लिए कुर्बानी दी है। ये परिवर्तन सर आया है। सर, एक और महत्वपूर्ण परिवर्तन है जो अभी कल मैं सुन रहा था कि जो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल इंस्टीट्यूशंस हैं, जुडिशरी है, इलेक्शन कमीशन है, फला फला फला, वो बिल्कुल नाकारा हो गए हैं, बंधक हो गए हैं, एक तरह से उसका कहना था। सर, मैं आपका बड़ा अनुभव है, आदरणीय नेता विरोधी दल का बहुत अनुभव है इस देश के पार्लियामेंट की हिस्ट्री का, इतिहास का। एक वक्त वो था जब सुप्रीम कोर्ट के फैसले होते थे और उस सुप्रीम कोर्ट के फैसले को निष्प्रभावी करने के लिए संख्या बल का इस्तेमाल होता था। कई ऐसे फैसले हैं। मैं लेटेस्ट फैसले आपको मैं 3 तलाक का बताता हूं। सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने कहा कि ये 3 तलाक एक क्रिमिनल कुरीति है, कुप्रथा है, इस पर कानून बनना चाहिए, उसको खत्म होना चाहिए। उस वक्त जो है वो कुछ लोगों के दबाव में सुप्रीम कोर्ट के फैसले को निष्प्रभावी करने के लिए इसी पार्लियामेंट में उस समय की सरकार यानी कांग्रेस पार्टी की सरकार ने कानून बनाया और कहा नहीं, हम सुप्रीम कोर्ट की बात को नहीं मानेंगे, जो कि संविधान में समानता के अवसर देने वाली बात थी, महिलाओं की सुरक्षा और सम्मान से जुड़ी हुई बात थी, नहीं माना। मोदी जी ने क्या किया, जो परिवर्तन आया सर, सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने 3 तलाक को कानूनी तौर से क्राइम माना, कुरीति माना, कुप्रथा माना और सुप्रीम कोर्ट के फैसले को प्रभावी बनाने के लिए हम इस पार्लियामेंट में कानून लाए। पार्लियामेंट का सम्मान कौन करता है? ऐसे तो बहुत सी घटनाएं हैं। आपको इलाहाबाद हाई कोर्ट का जो फैसला था उस समय की प्रधानमंत्री जी के खिलाफ, उसके बाद क्या हुआ था किसी को बताने की जरूरत नहीं। मेरे पास लिस्ट है, कम से कम 312 ऐसे सुप्रीम कोर्ट और हाई कोर्ट के फैसले हुए जिसको कि निष्प्रभावी बनाने के लिए संख्या बल का इस्तेमाल हुआ। हम तो प्रभावी बनाने के लिए सर करते रहे। सर, इसके साथ एक और बहुत महत्वपूर्ण जो बदलाव देश ने देखा सर, वो बदलाव कश्मीर जो हमारे देश का ताज है, जम्मू एंड कश्मीर, हम लोग सोचते थे कभी मतलब सोचते भी, बात भी करते थे यार 370 तो खत्म हो ही नहीं सकता। जितनी भी सेंटर के आप बिल हम पास करते थे, कानून बनाते थे, उसमें लिखा जाता है एक्सेप्ट जम्मू एंड कश्मीर। ये कानून जो है, बिजली जाएगी देश भर में, जम्मू कश्मीर में नहीं जाएगी अगर पार्लियामेंट बनाएगा। पानी के लिए जो कानून बनेगा वो जम्मू कश्मीर के लोगों के लिए नहीं होगा। रोजगार के लिए जो बनेगा वो जम्मू कश्मीर के लिए नहीं होगा। जो पिछड़े हैं, कमजोर तबके हैं, उनके रिजर्वेशन का कोई फैसला पार्लियामेंट करेगी, वो एक्सेप्ट जम्मू कश्मीर लिखा रहेगा। शिक्षा से जुड़े हुआ कोई फैसला होगा, उस पर एक्सेप्ट जम्मू कश्मीर लिखा रहेगा। जम्मू कश्मीर को देश की प्रगति की धारा से काटने वाले 370 को खत्म किया, ये परिवर्तन आया मोदी जी के शासनकाल में। और आज पार्लियामेंट को ये लिखने की जरूरत किसी बिल पर या किसी कानून पर नहीं पड़ती कि ये जो शिक्षा का कानून है, ये जो रोजगार का कानून है, ये जो बिजली पानी सड़क का कानून है, ये एक्सेप्ट जम्मू एंड कश्मीर। ये परिवर्तन सर बहुत बड़ा आया है। उसके अलावा आपने सीए का देखा होगा। सीए पर लेकर के काफी भ्रम भय का माहौल पैदा किया गया, जबकि यह हिंदुस्तान का उस समय श्रीमती इंदिरा गांधी जी के समय में और भुट्टो साहब के समय में एक फैसला हुआ कि जो उस देश के अल्पसंख्यक हैं, चाहे वो बांग्लादेश के हों, चाहे अफगानिस्तान के हों, चाहे पाकिस्तान के हों, उनकी सुरक्षा की जिम्मेदारी हिंदुस्तान की है और हिंदुस्तान उनकी सुरक्षा करेगा, उनके सम्मान की, उनके संस्कृति के, उनके धार्मिक स्वतंत्रता की। ये पंत मिर्जा एग्रीमेंट के तौर से जाना जाता है। वो एक संकट का समय है जब तालिबानी मानसिकता ने जो है वो इन देशों को अपने चपेट में ले लिया। वहां के जो अल्पसंख्यक की बात मैं जो कह रहा हूं, तो वहां हिंदू, वहां पर जो है सिख भाई बहन, वहां पर क्रिश्चियन और भी जो अल्पसंख्यक समाज के लोग हैं, जैन हैं बहुत से और सभी लोग रहते हैं, उनका सम्मान, उनकी संस्कृति, उनके धार्मिक अधिकार पूरी तरह से खतरे में आ गए। ये देश की जरूरत थी, ये पार्लियामेंट की जरूरत थी। जो उस वक्त कांग्रेस पार्टी ने फैसला किया था, उस फैसले को प्रभावी कराने की जरूरत थी। और सीए में अमेंडमेंट आया, आप सबने पास किया, कुछ लोगों ने विरोध किया। और जिस वक्त अभी अफगानिस्तान में तालिबानियों का जुर्म चल रहा था, उस वक्त वहां से इसी सीए की वजह से, सीए के जो संशोधन किया गया, इसी वजह से वहां के तमाम हिंदू भाई, वहां के तमाम सिख भाई, तमाम यहां तक कि जो मुस्लिम भाई भी थे, भाई बहनें थी, उनको भी हिंदुस्तान सुरक्षित लाने और उनकी सुरक्षा करने का काम हुआ है। यह परिवर्तन आया है मोदी जी के आने के बाद और उससे पहले जो 10 साल था उसमें। सर, एक परिवर्तन और आज देश एक बहुत संकट और कंटक के काल में गुजर रहा है। अभी भी कोरोना का संकट आया, किसी भविष्यवक्ता ने यह नहीं कहा था कि कोरोना कब आएगा और कैसे आएगा और कौन कितनों को मारेगा, कितनों को नहीं मारेगा। किसी वैज्ञानिक को नहीं पता था। एक ये बहुत बड़ी आपदा आई और 100 साल पहले जब ये आपदा आई थी, उपसभापति महोदय, जिसे कि स्पेनिश फ्लू के नाम से जाना गया था, उस वक्त हमारे देश की आबादी कितनी थी? 30 करोड़। इस 30 करोड़ में बांग्लादेश और पाकिस्तान सब मिला के मैं कह रहा हूं 30 करोड़। उस 100 साल पहले उस स्पेनिश फ्लू में कितने लोगों की मौत हुई थी? 2 करोड़ से ज्यादा मौत, ये डॉक्यूमेंट है। आज हमारी आबादी 140-50 करोड़ के इर्द गिर्द होगी। जिस वक्त ये संकट आया 2020 जनवरी में, फरवरी में, उस वक्त जो है वो हमारे पास ही क्या, जो सुविधा संपन्न देश भी थे सर, उनके पास भी कोई सुविधा संसाधन लोगों की सेहत सलामती के लिए नहीं था। हमारे देश के तमाम लोग, जो लोग विदेशों में रह रहे थे, लाखों की संख्या में लोग थे, जिनको कि उनके देश के लोग जो है वो कह रहे थे आप हमारे देश खाली करो, क्योंकि हर आदमी, हर देश अपने अपने लोगों की सेहत और सलामती की चिंता कर रहा था। मोदी जी ने आने के बाद फौरन पहला काम किया, जो लोग यूनाइटेड अरब अमीरात में थे, जो लोग जो है वो ब्रिटेन में थे, अमेरिका में थे, ईरान में थे, इराक में थे, सऊदी अरब में थे, या देश के अन्य अलग दुनिया के हिस्सों में थे, विशेष व्यवस्था करके उनको यहां सुरक्षित हिंदुस्तान लाना उसके बाद उनको जो है वो उनके यहाँ रुकने की व्यवस्था करना, कुछ उसमें हमारे फौज के लोगों के संस्थानों का को जो है प्रयोग किया गया, कुछ और संस्थान बनाए गए, क्योंकि ये सब एकदम बहुत जल्दबाजी में हो रहा था। लाखों लोगों को भारत से सुरक्षित लाना उनकी सेहत सलामती, और करोड़ों लोगों के हिंदुस्तानियों की सुरक्षा और सेहत सलामती। और जो 2 करोड़ सर हम लोगों की अनफॉर्चुनेट डेथ हुई थी, वो 2 करोड़ लोगों में जो डॉक्यूमेंट है सर, उसमें लगभग 80% लोग भूखमरी से मर गए थे, दवा न मिलने की वजह से मर गए थे। मोदी जी ने आने के बाद क्या किया? मोदी जी ने सबसे पहले जो गरीब था, जो कमजोर तबका था, इस संकट काल में 80 करोड़ से ज्यादा लोगों के खाने पीने की, अनाज की और भोजन की व्यवस्था करी, जो आज तक चल रही है।
अभी समाप्त कीजिए आपका समय।
ये एक बहुत बड़ा सर परिवर्तन है और बहुत बड़ा बदलाव है, जो कि आज जो है वो मैं 18 साल की बात कर रहा हूं, यानी आज से 8 साल 10 पहले क्या था और आज क्या है सर। उसके अलावा जो एक और महत्वपूर्ण बदलाव है, जब आज देश की, मैं बहुत जल्दी खत्म कर रहा हूं, आज देश की सर,
आपके बहुत सारे स्पीकर हैं।
हाँ सर,
और आपका जो टाइम था वो खत्म हो गया।
तो सर ऐसा, मैं एक बार, जब ये सरकार बनी 2014 में, जनता ने जनादेश दिया, तो उस वक्त पूरे देश में शोर मचा। किसी ने असहिष्णुता का शोर मचाया, किसी ने कहा कि इस देश से तो अब तमाम देशों की कुट्टी हो जाएगी, खासतौर से इस्लामिक देश तो अब इधर झांकेंगे भी नहीं। ये सारे के सारे चुनौतियां, और यही नहीं, इस देश के संस्कार, इस देश की संस्कृति, इस देश के संविधान और इस देश के राष्ट्रवाद की जो सियासी लिंचिंग हुई है, उसकी पराकाष्ठा हुई। और एक के बाद एक इस तरह की घटनाओं से पूरे दुनिया में भारत को बदनाम करने की साजिश और षड्यंत्र होती। जो मोदी बैशिंग की सनक थी, वो भारत बैशिंग का साजिश का रूप लेने लगी। लेकिन उसके बावजूद भी इस देश की ताकत, हिंदुस्तान की शक्ति और हिंदुस्तान का और हिंदुस्तानियों के सम्मान पर नरेंद्र मोदी जी की मजबूत राष्ट्रवादी इच्छा शक्ति ने उस पर असर नहीं पड़ने दिया, आंच नहीं आने दिया। सर, ये 28वां बदलाव है इन 8 सालों के अंदर का, जो पिछले 10 सालों का और 8 साल के बीच में है। तो सर, हम अपनी एक ही बात कह के खत्म करेंगे कि इस संकट के समय में, इस कंटक के समय में, जब कोरोना का भी कहर था, तूफानों का भी झोंका देखा, टिड्डियों का भी हमला देखा, फिसड्डियों का भी हमला देखा, उसके बावजूद भी नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने जो इस देश के लोगों के लिए कमिटमेंट किया था, इस देश के लोगों के सम्मान, इस देश के लोगों की सुरक्षा, इस देश के लोगों की समृद्धि का जो संकल्प लिया था, उसे कमजोर नहीं पड़ने दिया। जब हौसला बना लिया ऊंची उड़ान का, तब देखना फिजूल है कद आसमान का। इस संकल्प के साथ इस सरकार ने काम किया, और आपको इन 8 सालों में 28 बदलाव जो मुझे याद आ रहे हैं, वो मैंने आपको बता दिए। उसके अलावा तो बहुत लंबी लिस्ट है। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद आपको समय देने के लिए।
थैंक यू। श्री संजय राउत जी। Shri Sanjay Raut ji, are you anywhere in the Lok Sabha? No, I don't think he's here. Then Shri Kanak Medla Ravindra Kumar ji. He's also not here. Shri Abdul Wahab ji.
Yes, madam, thank you very much for giving me a chance. First of all, I am raised to oppose this motion, but after listening Mr. Our Minister Naqvi sir, 28 reasons 28 I think, it is 28, no? 28 reasons he found to support this government. I have seen 2, out of this one I have two which you are not mentioning. You are not mentioning the right to. I am supporting only on 2. Maybe you can make it 30. 28 plus 2. Because in skilling and in some waqaf, other than whatever he told was, everything was done by previous government also, and any government will do. He is only repeating, only praising Modi ji. Increasing the hate speech and communal attack against minority community, particularly Muslims and Christians, he was not mentioned. Young Muslim women professionals are auctioned through online. Statues of Jesus Christ were smashed and churches were attacked during the Christmas. This House should be unanimously condemn such incidents happening in our great country. And about unemployment, nobody mentioned, even President. It is observed there are more than 8 lakhs of vacancies in the central government. Why is the central government not filling these vacancies? I urge the government to immediately fill and the vacancies, at least in central government institutions. Honorable Chairperson, I take this opportunity to appreciate the government and Prime Minister Modi for his Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana, skill development program, and the way it is promoting the startup. I sincerely appreciate the department and ministers for the same. Honorable Chairman, however, I am concerned about the decline of India's global stature. It was a dream of our former President Abdul Kalam ji to convert our country into a superpower by 2020. He was very hopeful of youth and power of education. Today, a large section of our youth are unemployed and uneducated. The government under Manmohan Singh was taking the country in the right direction. All of a sudden, our growth and development have taken a U-turn. Our economic growth indexes and census index and must be moving upward. But surely there is a significant section of our society who is being left out in our growth. There is an increasing inequality in our society, both in social and economic terms. Honorable Chairman, India's image as a champion of democracy and human rights is diminishing due to its increasing intolerance to minorities and intellectuals. The world respects Mahatma Gandhi and Jawaharlal Nehru as their values. But today, a section of our society is disrespecting our Mahatma Gandhi ji. This disrespectful attitude towards Gandhi should stop. This House needs to take a lead in fixing these issues that I have raised. One more thing I want to mention, last thing. MP Lads Fund was stopped because of Corona. Agree. But when I came as a member of parliament in 2004, the amount was 5 crores. At that point of time, I could make minimum 1,000 classrooms with that 5 crore. Now, I can make only 200 classrooms. As I am telling, I am not only making classrooms. I could buy a computer that time by 50,000. Now it is okay, 20,000. But government should increase the MP lads from 5 crores to 20 crores minimum. 24 crores was actually the inflation rate. So I urge the government to re-engage this one, MP lads fund, so that money is going to the public.
Please observe silence on this side. Please observe silence.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
I am raising an issue for you also, for BJP members. It's common, not for me only. I am the only one. So I urge the government, and I oppose this motion of this one to the President Sir, and he was making just a letter given by the Prime Minister. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Babji. Dr. Fawzia Khan. She's in the Lok Sabha. Dr. Fawzia Khan. Yes, but she hasn't responded yet. Now we go to the next. Shri Ramdas Athavale ji. Shri Ramnath Thakur ji. Sabha.
लोक सभा माननीय उपसभापति महोदय,
आप बैठ के भी बोल सकते हैं रामनाथ जी, चाहिए तो। जी।
आपने मुझे राष्ट्रपति के अभिभाषण पर बोलने के लिए समय दिया। आपको बहुत बहुत बधाई। सबसे पहले तीसरी महामारी में कोरोना के दरमियान हम सबों के बीच से जो आदमी नहीं रहे, उनके प्रति और उनके परिवार के प्रति हार्दिक संवेदना हम व्यक्त करते हैं और आपसे निवेदन करते हैं कि हमारी संवेदना उनके परिवारों तक पहुंचा दें। उपसभापति जी, मैं सबसे पहले सरकार को यह बधाई देना चाहता हूं कि भारत में पहली बार कोरोना महामारी की दवा बनाने में अग्रणी रहा और अपने देश में ही नहीं विदेशों में दवा की सप्लाई की और लाखों लोगों को जान बचाने में कामयाबी हासिल की। इसके लिए उन वैज्ञानिकों को और भारत सरकार के मंत्रियों को मैं बधाई देता हूं कि लाखों लोगों को इस दवाई बनाने में और उसकी रक्षा में कामयाबी हासिल की। मैं राष्ट्रपति के अभिभाषण के संदर्भ में कुछ निवेदन करना चाहता हूं। मैं बधाई देना चाहता हूं कि पहली बार भारत में रक्षा मंत्रालय ने भारत में उपकरण बनाने का काम किया। जो विदेशों से आते थे सामान, उन विदेशों से न ला करके अपने देश में बनाने का काम किया और भारत को समृद्ध बनाने का काम किया और दलालों से बचाने का काम किया। इसलिए राष्ट्रपति के अभिभाषण को मैं सराहना करता हूं। दूसरी बात मैं कहना चाहता हूं कि भारत सरकार ने कृषि के मामले में खासकर गंगा के किनारे 9 राज्यों से होता हुआ बिहार में जो सम्मिलित होता है, उन गंगा के किनारों में हरे पेड़ लगाना, पौधा लगाना, मक्के की खेती करना, हरी सब्जियां उगाना और पर्यटन स्थल को समृद्ध बनाना, ये भारत सरकार ने ये अनोखा काम किया है। इसके लिए हम उन्हें बधाई देना चाहते हैं। तीसरी बात मैं कहना चाहता हूं कि जन खाता का जो खोलने का काम किया, ग्रामीण महिलाओं को दिन भर लग जाता है किसी बैंक में जाने के लिए और दलालों के हाथों उसे परेशानी उठानी पड़ती है। इसलिए हम निवेदन करना चाहते हैं भारत सरकार से कि ग्रामीणों में, पंचायतों में, गांवों में बैंक का सृजन करे, बैंक खोलने का काम करे और 6,66,000 गांवों में बैंक को से समृद्धि करे। इनके साथ हम भारत सरकार से निवेदन करना चाहते हैं कि वहां के ग्रामीण व्यवस्थाओं, खासकर महिलाओं को सुख और सुविधा मिले, दिन भर बैंक में रहने का मौका न मिले। इसलिए हर एक पंचायत में बैंक खोलने का हम निवेदन करना चाहते हैं। तीसरी बात मैं बताना चाहता हूं, भारत सरकार से निवेदन करना चाहता हूं कि बिहार में बाढ़ की समस्या से हम लोग ग्रसित रहते हैं। बाढ़ की समस्या से निदान कराने के लिए भारत सरकार नेपाल सरकार से वार्ता करे और हाई डैम बनाने का कोशिश करे और बाढ़ की समस्याओं से निजात दिलाने का काम करे, यह हम भारत सरकार से निवेदन करना चाहते हैं। बिहार कई मामलों में पिछड़ा हुआ है। बिहार के लिए हम विशेष पैकेज की मांग करते हैं और हम निवेदन करते हैं कि भारत सरकार बिहार सरकार को मदद करने का काम करेगी और बिहार की जो समस्या है उसे दूर भगाने का काम करेगी। चौथी बात मैं बताना चाहता हूं कि प्रधानमंत्री गरीब कल्याण अन्न योजना के माध्यम से यह प्रयत्न किया गया कि कोई भी गरीब और बेसहारा व्यक्ति भूखा से न मरे। इसके लिए भारत सरकार ने जो काम किया है यह सराहनीय है और इसको और आगे बढ़ाने में काम करना चाहिए। किसान सम्मान निधि के माध्यम से 11 करोड़ से अधिक किसान परिवारों को 1,80,000 करोड़ रुपए से अधिक की राशि प्रदान की गई है और इसका सकारात्मक प्रभाव भी दिखाई पड़ रहा है। फसल बीमा योजना में भी बदलाव किया गया है ताकि तकनीकी के आधार पर उनके दावों को खारिज न किया जा सके और इसका परिणाम यह हुआ है कि 8 करोड़ से अधिक किसानों को मुआवजा के तौर पर 1 लाख करोड़ रुपए से अधिक की राशि दी गई है ताकि उनकी कठिनाइयों का कम किया जा सके। अब सरकार की योजना यह है कि डीबीटी के तहत किसानों को उपज सीधे खरीद की जाए तथा पैदा उनके खातों में सीधे डाला जाए। महोदय, मैं इसके संबंध में सरकार से एक अनुरोध करना चाहता हूं। यद्यपि जन धन योजना के माध्यम से अधिकांश गांवों में बैंक खोलने के लिए मैं निवेदन कर चुका हूं। महोदय, यह संतोष की बात है कि सरकार ने देश में इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर के विकास के लिए प्रधानमंत्री गति शक्ति योजना की शुरुआत की है। भविष्य में रेल, राजमार्ग और हवाई यातायात अलग अलग विकसित नहीं होंगे बल्कि इनका एक मास्टर प्लान बनाकर इन्हें तैयार किया जाएगा। यह भी सुखद है कि वर्ष 2020-21 में ग्रामीण क्षेत्रों में प्रतिदिन 100 मीटर से अधिक की रफ्तार से 36,000 किलोमीटर से भी ज्यादा सड़कों का निर्माण हुआ है। मेरा यह अनुरोध होगा कि जब तक सरकार इस प्रकार की योजनाओं को लागू करे जो दे, ऐसा करते समय उन राज्यों पर विशेष फोकस करे जो इस मामले में पिछड़े हैं। मैं यह अनुरोध करना चाहता हूं कि बिहार में जो राजमार्ग परियोजनाएं एवं पुल पुलियों का निर्माण किया जा रहा है उसे तेजी से पूरा किया जाए। अभी ये कार्य वर्षों तक चलते रहे हैं। मैं यह भी अनुरोध करता हूं कि सरकार किसानों, नौजवानों की आकांक्षाओं को पूरा करने के लिए विशेष यत्न से तथा रोटी रोजगार के साधन उपलब्ध करावे ताकि देश में खुशहाली आए। तभी हम सही माने में संविधान में व्यक्त भावनाओं के अनुरूप तथा साथ ही महामहिम राष्ट्रपति द्वारा गौरवशाली भारत के निर्माण के आह्वान को साकार कर सकें। मैं कल सुन रहा था नेता विरोधी दल की बात को। मैं याद करता हूं 63-64 में डॉक्टर राम मनोहर लोहिया जब लोकसभा में फर्रुखाबाद से जीत के आए थे तो उन्होंने अविश्वास भारत सरकार के विरुद्ध में, कांग्रेस के विरुद्ध में अविश्वास प्रस्ताव लाने का काम किया था और उसमें उन्होंने बताया था कि आप इसलिए हटे कि हमारे किसानों को, दलितों को, वंचितों को, पिछड़ों को जो हक आपने मारा है उस हक को दिलाने में कामयाबी हो। डॉक्टर लोहिया ने यह बताने का काम किया था अपने अविश्वास प्रस्ताव में। लेकिन नेता विरोधी दल जब बोल रहे थे तो उन्होंने शिकायतों की झड़ी लगा दी, लेकिन एक भी उपाय उन्होंने नहीं बताया कि यह काम करने से नौजवानों को, किसानों को, मजदूरों को, पिछड़ों को, दलितों को ये फायदा होगा। इसलिए हम निवेदन करना चाहते हैं कि पुलिंदा तो आप बांध देते हैं कि यह काम नहीं हुआ, लेकिन जो काम हुआ उसको आप धारण कीजिए और जो काम नहीं हुए सकारात्मक रूप से आप भारत सरकार से निवेदन करें कि यह काम करें। यह जब आपके मन में विश्वास पैदा होगा तो सरकार के प्रति भी और आम जनता के प्रति भी आपके बारे में अच्छी सोच बनेगी। मैं आपके माध्यम से निवेदन करना चाहता हूं कि कि भारत सरकार जो पिछड़ों न्यायालयों में जो आरक्षण के आधार पर न्यायाधीशों की बहाली आरक्षण के आधार पर करना है वह निश्चित रूप से करें। जो बैक लिस्टेड जो जगह खाली हैं भारत सरकार में 8 लाख लोगों से अधिक जो भर्ती का है उसको भरने का काम करें। इन शब्दों के साथ मैं आपसे निवेदन करना चाहता हूं कि सिर्फ हंगामा करना मेरा मकसद नहीं, मेरी कोशिश है सूरत बदलनी चाहिए। मेरे सीने में न सही तेरे सीने में है आग, जहां आग जलनी चाहिए। इन शब्दों के साथ मैं अपनी बात खत्म करता हूं और राष्ट्रपति के प्रति संवेदना व्यक्त करता हूं। जय हिंद, जय भारत।
धन्यवाद रामनाथ जी ठाकुर जी। श्री अजित कुमार भूया। Yes, please.
Honorable Vice Chairman, sir, Madam, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity. As I stand to speak against the motion, I would like to know that what happened to the doubling farm income. When I was going through, I did not find any indications of how government is planning for the welfare of farmers. I would like to know what happened to these investment targets, 10 crore jobs and 5 trillion economics. The normal salaried class got Mahabharat courts, whereas corporate taxes got reduced. The pandemic has exhausted the nations, but what is the relief to come out from such agonies? But as usual, government chooses to ignore the shrinking middle and lower income class. 8 lakhs affordable houses will be completed at rupees 44,000 crore under Prime Minister Awaaz Yojana in 2022-23. This means rupees 55,000 for each house. I do not understand what kind of house will be of rupees 55,000, especially in the hilly areas of the northeastern region. Agriculture and allied activities which still employ the largest bulk of the population have been left without any mention in the speech. Madam, in 2021, the income of 84% of households has gone down, whereas government income increases 64.9% more in comparison to 2020. The nation is facing terrible inflation, and there is no mention of how to give relief to the middle and lower middle class. There is a reflection in the speech that the mirage of Achhe Din has been conceived, but the truth is ever farther away. I feel The nation must wait for 25 more years for Achhe Din to arrive. It will not be an exaggeration if I say that I sense it is anti-federalist policy and approach of the government of the day. The subsidies on several schemes which directly benefit common people, roughly 80%, has been reduced. The core of the core schemes, including Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee schemes, faces a cut. I had a high expectation that the presidential speech would refer to rural jobs and their avenues, but funds had been cut by 25%. Vice Chairman, Madam, 2014, I would like to say 2014 promise of Achhe Din, 2017 promise of New India, 2022 promise of Amrit Kal in 25 years. The goalpost keeps changing as the timeline keeps changing, as the promises keep changing. Promises are good, but delivery is better. 4.6 crores have been pushed with poverty, and 84% households have suffered from loss of income, and India ranks 104 out of 160 countries in the Global Hunger Index. I do not find any capsules on how to recover from these agonies in the speech. 66 lakhs MSMEs were closed, and this has strained the people to go back to their native places, but there has been no scope and incentives to employ those people at their respective places. Madam, I represent Assam in the upper house, and the government has claimed that peace and tranquility prevail in the northeast states. The government has not spelled out a Naga peace solution, as the honorable members of the House know that the Naga conflict is the mother of all other conflicts of the region. The framework agreement was signed in August 2015 in the presence of the Prime Minister of India, and Prime Minister had subsequently claimed that the long-pending Naga conflict would be resolved in no time. More than 6 years had gone, but what is the latest update of the Naga conflict is still a mystery. I am of the strong view that unless the Naga conflict gets resolved, the peace process in the region will be just Awaaz, and a piecemeal approach will continue to disturb the region. Manipur and Assam's peace-loving people are still longing for resolution of conflict, and the government of India is yet to start a dialogue with several outfits. I am confident that peace and development should move simultaneously, and if the government of India takes bold initiative, bold initiatives in this direction, as the region has been strategically very important and have 98% international border. Thank you very much for giving the opportunity to speak few words.
Thank you. Shri Ripun Boraji. Ripun Boraji. Is it?
Come here. Here you can come.
My time may be counted from now onwards. Thank you, Madam. First of all, the entire country, with high expectation, they were looking that the President's address will be that we have already passed 3 pandemic So the entire economy of our country has been badly devastated by the pandemic, and the people of this country wanted that since the President's address is the roadmap of the government for the coming years, so definitely there should be ways and means how to recover, how to develop, how to rebuild our economy. But nothing has been mentioned. Meanwhile, many of my friends have already explained. So this 84 crores, we have 130 crores population in our country, and out of that, 84 crores peoples, this income has been come down drastically during this pandemic period. But in the presidential address, not a single word has been mentioned. Not only that, madam, during our UPA government, when Dr. Manmohan Singh was Prime Minister, the 27 crores people have been upgraded from below poverty line to above poverty line. This is not my report. This is the NITI Aayog's report. So now, during these 7 years, you are saying there's a $5 trillion country, we are leading our country to $5 trillion. But during these 7 years, nearly 5 crores people have gone again below poverty line. Now, our country, it is very same. We are saying we are Vishwaguru, but we are very same, madam, that in the world, in the global poverty, our India poverty is the half of the global poverty. So this is the, madam, our present burning problem is what? This unemployment problem, this skyrocketing prices. Not a single word has been mentioned in the presidential address how to tackle the unemployment problem, how to tackle the price rises. Apart from that, madam, the purchasing power of our people in this country have been hugely declined. The individual consumption has been hugely declined. But in the roadmap, what we call is the BJP said that it is a roadmap of the government, but in the roadmap, nowhere road is mentioned how to tackle this situation. Not only, madam, I just, in the para 15, in the presidential address, madam, para 15, the government has very proudly said that during pandemic period, we have done a great thing. What great thing? That not a single citizen was left in hunger, left in hungry. It is said. But what is the reality? They say that 80 crores people have been given free rice under Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Nidhi Yojana. But what is the reality? This reality is our people in the world global index, our India's number has come to 101. It was 94 in 2020, and it has come to 101. And that too, madam, we are far, far behind than Bangladesh, Pakistan, and Nepal also. So this is our government claim that this is the largest food distribution program in the world, but this is the position. Not only that, madam, yesterday our LOP has also said that all the time we are hearing one complaint that 70 years, 70 बरसर आपने किया क्या, 70 बरसर आपने किया क्या. हाँ, 70 बरसर तो हमने नहीं किया, कुछ नहीं किया, लेकिन बीजेपी में किया. मैं इसको एक हमारा गांव में एक कहावत है, मैडम, वो कहावत क्या है? जो एक बाप का बेटा जो निकम्मा होता है, वो कुछ आमदनी कर नहीं पाता है, वो क्या करता है? बाप का सब प्रॉपर्टी एक के बाद बिकता है, और सब बाप का प्रॉपर्टी सब बिकने के जब खत्म हो जाता है, तो वो आरोप लगाता है, मेरा बाप ने मेरे को क्या दिया, मेरा बाप ने मेरे को क्या दिया. तो यही है हाल, यही है. आप देखिए मैडम, मैं ये नीति आयोग का है, मेरा नहीं है. जो जब फर्स्ट प्राइम मिनिस्टर इंडिया जवाहरलाल नेहरू, he created 33 number of PSUs. no privatization. Lal Bahadur Shastri, he created 5 numbers of PSU, no privatization. Indira Gandhi created 66 numbers of PSU, no privatization. Morarji Desai created 9 numbers of PSU, no privatization. Rajiv Gandhi created 16 number of PSU, 16 number of PSU, no privatization. VP Singh created 2 number of PSU, no privatization. PV Narasimha Rao created 14 number of PSU, no privatization. IK Gujral, HD Devegowda created 3 number of PSU, no privatization. Then Atal Bihari Vajpayee, he created 17 numbers of PSU. There is 7 privatization. Dr. Manmohan Singh created 23 number of PSU, only 3 privatization. And our Vishwaguru Prime Minister Narendra Modi, during 8 years, he created not a single PSU. And he privatized 23 number of PSU. So this is what we have done 70 years and what you have done in 8 years. Not only that, madam, one more important thing, that in para 40, it is mentioned about women empowerment. Para 31 in the address, it is mentioned in the women empowerment and said that 85% of the households, women, have been given Ujjwala gas. Yes, it is the data. By simply giving Ujjwala gas, there is no women empowerment. There cannot be women empowerment, but the government is not taking the feedback. There is no monitoring. The Ujjwala gas we have given, first cylinder women has taken, but the government has no knowledge. They are not taking this information that after taking the first cylinder, the woman has not been afford to take the second cylinder at cost of rupees 1,000. It is lying. The cylinder is lying in the kitchen of the poor woman. This is women empowerment. This is women empowerment. Not only that, madam, our Congress government for women empowerment, we have made 33% reservation in Panchayati Raj, 50% reservation in urban local bodies, and we have passed bill for reservation of women in parliament and assembly also. But what you have done? What you have done? What about that? It is lying there. Not only that, this NCRB report of 2020. What happened? There is crime against women 3,87,997 in 2019. And in 2020, there is crime against women 3,57,360. Now you see, this is, if our women is not protected, how can we say women empowerment? What is the meaning of women empowerment? If we cannot protect our women, not only that, we offer the Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao. It is a very popular slogan, Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao. But what is Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao? No, Prime Minister said Padhao, but we are not saying Padhao. As anything. So here you see, madam, that in the year 14 to 18 years, children committed suicide. In 2019, 9,613, and 2020, 11,396. That is, in 1 year, 18% increase of suicide of girl children of age 14 to 18. Is it Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao? Is it Beti? This is not my data. This is your data, NCRB data. Not only that, madam, now we are coming to another point. That is, I must say, I am from Assam, I am from Northeast, and my friend Ajit Bhuya has already said about Northeast also, and I also want to say in para 74 of the presidential address, there is mention that we are giving top priority for the development of Northeast region. My friend Rijizu is also there. But what is that? You see that in Assam, 2 private sector undertakings, 2 paper mills have been closed down. Not only that, during this from 14 years to till today, not a single mega project was sanctioned for Northeast region. Simply airport to the Hulengi. This is not enough. This is the only one airport for Hulengi, and that decision was of our UPA government. Except that, but the other airport, in the name of Bharat Ratna, Gopinath Bordoloi, that airport has been sold to Adani. This is happening. This is happening. The Armed Forces Special Power Act, that has been grossly misused in Northeast region recently in Nagaland. On December 4, the military had killed 14 numbers of civilians. It is a very thing. Normally our military is used. To against the foreign aggression, but our military has killed our own people, and nothing has been done. So these Naga people, they are going for long hesitation. The Alpha problem in Assam, the other extremist problem in Assam, the Naga peace talk has not been done, and no mention has been there. So how you can improve the Northeast region? Not only that, madam, now I want to come to para 14. In para 14, there is said that government is giving top priority for scheduled castes, scheduled tribes, and OBC. But what is the reality? What is the reality? If we again come to the NCRB report, that we have seen the scheduled caste people, crime against the scheduled caste people, 50,291 in 2020, and for scheduled caste, that is the increase of 9.4% of crime against the scheduled caste people in comparison to 2019. And scheduled tribes people, there is crime against them 8,272, and that is 9.3% increase against this.
You have to start winding up.
1 minute. So this, if we cannot protect the scheduled caste and scheduled tribes people, where is their empowerment? Where is their development? We have cut their budget. We have not given the scholarship of these scheduled caste students for the last several years. Now we are giving the priority to the scheduled caste people. So this is last, madam. Finally, I have come to this point only, that I would have been very glad, 1 minute, madam. I would have been very glad to extend our thanks, to extend our gratefulness to the President of India and to the presidential address. Had there been mentioned this thing, what is that? That your slogan is Sabka Saath, Sabka Vishwas. But you do not have Aapka Vishwas nahi hai. Aapka Vishwas aapka mantri ka upar nahi hai. Aapka Vishwas judges ka upar nahi hai. Aapka Vishwas army officer ka upar nahi hai. आपका विश्वास अपोजिशन लीडर का ऊपर नहीं है, आपका विश्वास आपका मंत्री का ऊपर नहीं है, तो इसीलिए आपने क्या किया? जब फॉरेन से तुल मंगाया, स्पाईवेयर मंगाया, जो पेगासास लगा दिया. यू कैन से आज जो पेगासास, जो आज ये जो सारा इंटरनेशनल में, सारा वर्ल्ड में हमारा इंडिया का डिफेंडर सबसे you claim.
Honorable member, please wind up, otherwise I'll have to call the next
India is the largest democratic country, but what you have done here?
Okay, honorable member, I'm calling the next member.
You have finished our rights by applying Pegasus, and Prime Minister has given a lie
Thank you.
He misled the country. He said that, no, we have taken Pegasus, but it is a New York.
Thank you, Boraji. Thank you, Boraji.
New York
now, Shri Jawahar Sarkar.
That the government has purchased Pegasus.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Boraji. Shri Jawahar Sarkar.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is my
Yes,
maiden
he's
speech.
in the Lok Sabha.
The first speech I'm going to make in Parliament after a patient wait for 6 months.
I have called up Jawahar Sarkar ji. You can say it in your speech. You can react.
Madam Chair.
Jawahar Sarkar ji.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
In
Yes,
Lok Sabha.
Sarkar ji.
Ha.
Yes.
Madam Chair, thank you for the opportunity of me to speak before this August House. I celebrate the 6th month of my oath-taking. So I have not spoken a single word in 6 months.
Could you sit down and speak so that you are more audible?
Shall I sit down?
Yes, please, so that
Okay.
you'll be more audible.
So,
that's right. Thank you.
This is the 6th month of my oath-taking, and thank you very much for the first opportunity to speak in 6 months. I hope you would be gracious enough to give me the time allotted to maiden speeches. We have heard a lot of Modi Nama for the last couple of days in a manner that puts anyone to shame, anyone with certain amount of self-respect. India is today at the crossroads as it has never been before. Indian history is going to be judged on what we do today and what we do for tomorrow. Our polity is shattered. Our political framework has never been so threatened. The political framework created by those who fought for India's freedom, those who did not by those who ran away from India's freedom struggle. Our society is fractured. Brother is against brother, and it is now a credit to discredit someone else. Our economy is mauled. It has never gone through such a bad patch. I have worked for 41 years in government, and I know that we have never gone through such a bad patch, not even in 1991. And much of the destruction of the economy is thanks to deliberate policies that have not understood their meaning. The first two problems that I would highlight are inequality or inequity and joblessness. For God's sake, as the representatives of the people of India, we need to understand that the printed word and the flowery phrase do not mean much to those who go hungry, those who are without jobs. As we stand and talk today, 100 crores is the labor force between 15 and 64. Between 15 and 64, government has said there are 100 crore people, and it is government and CMI and others who have admitted that only 40% is a labor participation ratio. This means, in effect, that 60 crore Indians have no job security. No job security. We need not quibble over the exact number of unemployed, those who are without any job whatsoever. Forget security. It could be around 6 crores. The rate of unemployment has never reached such a devastating portion as it has reached today. On the other hand, we see in this inequitable system, in this open capitalist system that has been ushered in by a certain person in 2014, never before in the history of India have we seen such a naked capitalism. We see that somebody who flew him in a plane has shot up from 14 billion US dollars to 41 billion US dollars. The bottom half of India have lost what they had, and they are now holding on to 13% of the national wealth. 13% of the national wealth is held by the bottom half of India, while the top 10% alone, the numbers are just a handful, have abrogated 22%. We can go on figures of poverty because poverty itself is open to definition. One reliable statistic says that about 15 crore Indians were lifted out of poverty in the last in 10 years from 2006. If we go by that figure, 15 crores lifted out of poverty, we have to see along with it
that 14 crores have been pushed into poverty in the last 2 years. What a credit. Pushing them back into poverty. Joblessness, I have already told you. So without an equitable economy, what does it matter whether the Indian economy reaches 3 trillion or 30 trillion? Because all of it would be going into the pockets of a few while the others go hungry. Hunger has already been mentioned. To give effect to this, what I would say, a misconstrued game plan, we find privatization has been given much more emphasis than ever before in Indian history. The disinvestment budget for 21-22 is 1.75 lakh crore. I wonder how much they have been able to get. But over and above this, disinvestment is giving it up forever. Government has come up with a new ploy called the National Monetization Pipeline. This NMP targets 6 lakh crores. 6 lakh crores over a period of 5 to 6 years. And this year itself, I think its target is 88,000 crores. 20 categories of national assets: roads, freight corridors, railway lines, power, 6 lakh crore watts. 6 lakh crore watts of power. Gas, 8,000 kilometers of gas. 25 airports, and I can go on with the list, would be handed over for a lease period to those who may return them after extracting whatever was there in them. What guarantee is it? What guarantee do we have that after the so-called lease period, we shall be getting those goods that we gave them, if at all we have to give them? 1.6, there are a large number of coal projects, and we know who is the largest coal handler in India. Again, you come to that same question: for whose benefit are we going for massive privatization? You have not put up any public assets. Who has authorized you? Who has authorized you to sell off family silver? You have not earned it. This is developed from the earnings of the taxpayer and by visionary leaders. And you are now tasked yourself with the task of selling them over to people friendly with you. When I use a term like that, let me give you an example. 6 airports were privatized. They were privatized to a friend. That is all I need to say. The procedures were tuned accordingly, as bureaucrats would say, and all 6 airports went to a person who has never handled an airport in his life, may have only traveled in an airport as a passenger. What happens if he puts on captive rates now? The LIC is the crown jewel of India. The LIC's worth is around 40 lakh crores. It has 6 lakh agents and employees. This LIC of 40 lakh crores, you know what 40 lakh crore means? Our budget is normally around the range of 35 lakh crores. So LIC that has built up such and such a solid institution is now being diluted in favor of American insurance companies. I'm putting it bluntly, in favor of American insurance companies. Banks, over the last 12 years, banks have given us 16,55,000 crores of profit, operating profit. What you show as actual depends on what you need to force them to deduct for NPAs. While the inflation rate is at 6%, the fixed deposit rate is below 6%, at 5.5%, at 5%. So we as a government are actually stealing 1% from the depositors' money by eroding its value every year, eroding its value. Never before has this happened. I look upon just two sectors that ensure that the next generation of Indians are better than what we are, what we were. Education. In education, the figure given by the Education Minister yesterday in a reply to a question, he says that 5 years ago, the central government contribution to education was 1.07% of the GDP. 1.07% of the GDP. The education minister's reply is that Mr. Modi's government has brought it down this year to 0.09, 0.9. It has come down below even that shameful 1% to below 9%. I understand that you don't understand education. It's all right. You don't need to understand. You can flaunt degrees. The states, the poor states, cash-strapped states, have contributed 3.31% of their money. What they have contributed amounts to 3.31% of the GDP. Therefore, India's total contribution to education to GDP comes to 4.030 thanks to states. Thanks only to states. But then I find in this government, the left hand does not know what the right hand is doing. The economic survey gives in page 352 that the education percent to GDP is 2.8%. Just now, the education minister said it is 4.3%. And on page 352 of the economic survey, you say 2.1%. 2.8% to 3.1%. Bhai Sahab, there is a lot of difference between 4.1% of the GDP, 3.1% of the GDP, and 4.330% of the GDP. Hajaron, lakhon crore ki fark hai. Education as a percentage of GDP, as I said, has been going down year after year, and you are doing nothing about it. The major schemes in higher education, I was checking, and they have replied that the major scheme for higher education known as RUSA, Rashtriya Uchchatar Shiksha Abhiyan, has come down from 1,400 crores 5 years ago to 165 crores this year. From 1,400 crores to 165 crores. This is just an example. Just an example. I move on to health. Health, whenever we talk about, India will not forget those devastating scenes of corpses being burnt on pavements or in parks, corpses being thrown into rivers to hide figures. The figures that the government of India has given and is repeatedly giving of deaths is challenged by every country in the world, including Burkina Faso. Our statistics have no value whatsoever. We are beating China where credibility is concerned. So we will not forget the massive deaths that happened despite all the drum beating that you undertake now. Why did you not order for vaccine when they were being made in India? Why were you going around the world as a Vishwaguru, as somebody, as a pharmacy of the world, when your own vaccine companies were moving from pillar to post in Delhi, asking for a purchase policy? When they booked these vaccines for a foreign market, you clamped down upon them. And thankfully, you did not declare them anti-nationals, but you got very late. Your late entry into the vaccine market caused an immense number of deaths for which India will never forgive you. On health, our total spend is just 1.2%. It's one of the most shameful things that we bow our head in shame when we talk in international forum. It has gone up from 1.2 to 1.8, but even 1.8 is no percentage. Brazil spends 9.2, Bhutan spends 2.5, Russia spends 5.3, and the advanced countries spend at least 5+. Do not look only at India shining. You will get the same fate that the person who spoke of India shining got. Look back, look into ourselves, look into these factors, look into factors like health and education. You talk of Ayushman Bharat, you talk of insurance cover. As somebody said, all the money has gone to insurance company. To look at a difference, come to West Bengal and see the scheme that we have initiated called Swasth Saathi. And you will see that everyone who possible has got a card and can walk into a private hospital free of cost, get paid for it because the Bengal government pays for them. Look at where things are working more positively instead of spending hours and hours in devising alphabet to give fancy names to your schemes with your cronies. Look at the state of institutions, the public institutions that uphold democracy. Try Telecom Regulatory Authority of India. That's where the game started. Within a week of his coming, Mr. Modi amended the TRI Act so that the TRI chairman could be his principal secretary. And the chairperson accepted it quite shamefully. That is where the rot begins. Subsequent chairmen of TRI have facilitated the growth of one telecom empire and have devastated all other telecom companies to the extent that Government of India is forced to buy up the major shares in one limping company. Look at the Election Commission of India. I will not comment about the present commission because we have not had sufficient interaction with them. But the previous commission, consisting of a chief election commissioner, was an international shame. His partisanship is a matter that is listed in stone in Nirvachan Sadan. He tampered with everything in favor of the ruling party. To give another example of how elections were run, the Central Armed Police Forces sent to Bengal outnumbered the Bengal police. Can you imagine that in Kerala or any other state? That the number of Central Armed Forces sent to you are double that, are 150% of your own forces. Are you trying to run a colonial state? But then the people gave their verdict. The people's verdict must be remembered. VVPAT, the paper trail, VVPAT was introduced and forced by the Supreme Court to be operationalized. That VVPAT is today undergoing a feet dragging with the consent of one particular Chief Justice who has now switched on to the other side. Anyway, our humble submission is that when the 2024 election comes, please be bold enough to utilize the hundreds of crores that you have spent on VVPAT and let two results emanate, one from EVMs and the other from VVPAT. Why do we have to force you? Why? What do you have to hide? Use the VVPAT, use the paper trail. And I challenge the Election Commission's Deputy Commissioner who lied before the Supreme Court and then indulgent Supreme Court that it takes 5 to 6 days to count paper trails. I have counted, I don't know how many election results on paper. It never takes that long. Why do you lie and why do you connive with such lying? Election bonds, another institutionalized shame. Look at the institutions that we talk about. Prasar Bharati, that I happened to serve, were a difficult period. The last 2 years that I served under this regime is something that I leave for my biography or something. It was one of the worst. Look at what they have done to the CBI and ED as an instrument of political vendetta. The CBI and ED were excellent professional services. Let me tell you, for even those who are angry with them, their professionalism is being destroyed by putting henchmen at the top and giving them extension after extension in collusion with legislation. The judiciary, I'll not mention.
Honourable Member, you'll have to start winding up.
Okay, okay. The CAG, as a maiden speech, please give me a few more minutes.
Your time is that way already consumed. Because it's your maiden speech, we continue to give you another 2
okay,
3
okay.
17 plus 15, 32 minutes.
32 minutes is what I'm entitled. But anyway, I'll wind it up. In honor of the chair, I'll wind it up. Look at the CAGs. Look at the conduct of the CAGs. The last two, under this regime, compromised to such an extent that the nation never came to know the cost of demonetization. The nation never came to know the cost of the Rafale deal and what was proper and improper about them. And one of them has got a Padma Bhushan for it. Maybe the other should also be given one. The original mastermind who actually felled the government in 2014 has procured more rewards than a gentleman would ever do. In any case, we move on. We come to the last major critical point of federal relations. Remember, the Indian Federation and the Indian civilization came together in an act of unison through through their own consensus. We have been ruled by a central authority for less than 500 years. The Mauryas ruled for over 200 years. The Mughals' effective rule was 120 years. the British effective rule was 150 years. From 70 to 80% of India was ruled for 500 years by central powers. Our civilization is at least 5,500 years of recorded history, the historical period, and 500 years or less is what central authorities have ruled, which means that for the remaining 5,000 years, Indians have still coalesced together, come together as a civilization because they felt like it, because they felt it was conducive. Do not turn that into an instrument of hegemony. Look at how the BSF jurisdiction has been extended without consulting the states. Look at how economic grants to the states are being dealt with. And look at the last blow to the Indian Administrative Service. The Indian Administrative Service shuttles between the centre and state. It is not the fault of officers that they don't want to serve the centre now. 10 years ago, 309 IAS officers served the centre. Today, it should have been 409 against 309. The number has come down to 2, 2, 3. Can't you get the message that they don't want to come and serve under you? You can't use force now to draw them out from their cities and work under you. Force does not work anywhere, everywhere. Out of the 6,500 posts, 1,500 are vacant. For God's sake, you have had 7, 8 years to fill them up. Fill them up. Don't hegemonize. Don't bully the state. Don't bully the state. I come down to the last lap of my presentation on the President's speech. The entire thing is being run on controls and arrogance. Even Aadhaar, the linking of Aadhaar to voter card, is another indication of this control freak mentality. The Central Vista is an arrogant display of hubris. There was no need. Please go and see it. Members, please go and see Rajpath. This Rajpath was Rajpath, which was perfectly fine, and it has cost 606 crores. 600 crores to redo the Rajpath and put a few lampshades and lampposts and visitors' seats. What sort of nonsense is this? It's just a hubris. It would be much better if you have renamed Rajpath in somebody's name. 6 buildings will come up on 2 sides. 6 unimaginative buildings, 6 unaesthetic buildings will be coming up on 2 sides of Rajpath as a grand plan of the Central Vista by breaking down the National Museum, Vigyan Bhavan, National Archives of India, the National Cultural Center. Everything has been shattered so that 6 buildings can come. I have served the central bureaucracy, Mr. Modi. You have not served. I know there is no need for it, because even if you bring them down to your Modi Nagar, there'll still be people who will be working outside.
Kindly wind up, honourable member.
Draconian rule extends now to snooping, and Pegasus is the greatest example of how this state has become a surveillance state. All evidence points out to the surveillance, but the government does not have the guts to come out and say no. They send governors with the sole intention of disturbing the constitutional mechanism of states, only disturbing the constitution. And the one that we have got will also be, the less said the better. As we celebrate 75 years of India's independence, all Indians are bold. We remember with pride the Quit India movement that was led by Mahatma Gandhi, that was opposed by those who are now monopolizing its celebration. We remember those who went to jail and are to 15 years in jail and are abused on a daily basis by those who never saw the insides of jail. We are proud of our flag that was opposed in writing in the organizer, the mouthpiece of the RSS, in writing. And this allegiance to the flag was brought in at gunpoint by Sardar Patel, who jailed these people for 1.5 years. For 1.5 years,
Honourable
he put
member,
the RSS in
I'm
jail.
sorry, but you'll have to wind up.
Okay, in jail. And in these, we are now told that they are the monopolists of patriotism. This government is not worthy of further discussions, because every act that it has undertaken is an act that spells out the deep hubris, the the tendency to homogenize a country that is necessarily heterogeneous. Indian civilization will thrive on its heterogeneity, not on any enforced homogeneity. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Shri R.S. Bharti ji.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chairman.
Yes.
On behalf of DMK party, my floor leader, Mr. Tiruchi Siva, yesterday, sitting in the chair occupied by our founder leader, Peranjar Anna, has spoken very well, and he has described vividly about this, the non-performance of this government, and he has also pointed out the failures of this government, and he has also suggested